You will not believe your eyes on Off the Bar this week because we have one of the country's best young magicians in the house. He's a Fulham fan and goes under the fantastic title, The Magic Mod. So he's here, and also one of the nation's best TV broadcasters. And apart from me, Eamonn Holmes is in the pub here in Leafy Weybridge. So we've got Eamonn, the Magic Mod, Tony, Just for Men Gale, Alan, Private Line 88, Bentley, who's in need of a cushion, as ever, and the Queen of the MK Dons, and our own tipping table, Anne-Marie Davies. With that lot to pack in, we really ought to crack on straight away. Very good. That's the budget he's mucking around with. Chelsea slipped back in the battle for second last week, even without a rant, and visitors West Brom are no soft touch. Norwich are unbeaten in 4, beat Everton last week, and face a United side just 3 days from a massive Champions League game. Could be a tricky one, Eamonn. Swansea must put their Wembley success behind them at home to a Newcastle team still on a high after the win over Southampton. Game of the day on Sunday sees Gareth Bale and his supporting cast at home to Arsenal. Form goes out the window in the North London derby. Spurs to win. And Villa needs something, anything, out of the Monday night visit of the champions. And so we move on to the first half of the fixtures, and I'm warning you two, the magic act we've got, you've got to pull something out of the hat to match that. I didn't rehearse that at all. Well, I did actually, on my own. It's quite sad, isn't it?
Didn't need it, did it?
Chelsea, no real stories there against West Brom.
Well, it's going to be a strange old atmosphere at Stamford Bridge. There's no two ways about that. As things stand, I still fancy Chelsea to win this one. West Brom just one clean sheet away from home. No Lukaku up front, who is the only goal threat, I think, for them. I do fancy Chelsea, but all in all, better bets to have in what's going to be a bizarre atmosphere.
Yeah, no value in the betting whatsoever, Matt, but Chelsea, strange the way he keeps rotating it at the moment, because once you think you're going out the Champions League, I think you've got to play your best team no matter what. Rafa would have to play his best team, but he keeps mucking about with it, and I think it's at the cost of the team. West Brom, good win last week against Sunderland. We're sitting here saying it was a, win that one, but when you come out on top by the odd goal in games like that, that's a cracking result, but I don't think they got enough for Chelsea. Clarkey returning, he'll want a result, but I don't think he'll get it.
And I heard somebody else say, because I just listened to somebody else all day long, that Everton's season rested on that FA Cup win. I mean, this can't be right, can it?
I don't think they'll win the FA Cup, but nor do I think they'll finish fourth, so perhaps they've got a point. They just don't finish teams off. Again, we saw that to a degree against Oldham. I think they'll beat Reading, because Reading are doomed. They're nailed on for relegation. But I do fancy both teams to score, albeit with Everton to win, but they're just not killing teams off. We saw it last week against Norwich, we saw it against Oldham, and I think we'll see it again here.
Can you imagine him with a black top hat on and a tailed coat walking in front of a load of horses towards a graveyard?
Well, he always talks doom when he's talking about Everton, but I mean, what has started as a great season, and you thought maybe they would kick on from there because always the second half of those seasons get better, it's gone totally in reverse for Everton, and it's hard to put your finger on why. As Alan said, they can't finish teams off. The Norwich game just typified it. Totally in control of the game, end up losing the game 2-1. Got it back a little bit with the Oldham game. I think they'll have too much for Reading though, Matt, because I said, last week when we were talking about Wigan-Reading, what a big game it was. That was a real kick in the wassits for him.
United against Norwich, United with a bigger cushion than him, and that's saying something.
Well, I saw him last week. They'd done just enough against Queen's Park Rangers. It was a typical performance of a team that knows how to win titles. They'd done it with a minimum of effort. Saw the injury to Van Persie. think he's going to be okay when he fell into the cameras. But Raphael, I must say, this was a guy that I thought wasn't going to be good enough. And sometimes you're trusting your own eye when you're doing commentaries or you're a manager or whatever. But Fergie had that belief in him, and boy, is it paying off. He doesn't look a good player now.
I'm going to say this is an odd one because of what's happening next week with the Champions League. It looks as though Real Madrid are going to rest players for the Clasico this weekend. The bookies in Asia and the Asian punters, I can tell you, think that Man United are going to rest players. They're all coming in for Norwich this weekend at a massive price. Norwich did beat Everton. I still think, and we keep seeing this in the FA Cup though with Man United, almost whoever they pick, they're going to be good enough, and I think that'll be the case again. I think whichever 11 he puts out, they'll beat Norwich, albeit it won't be a landslide.
I'm with you on that, which must reassure you totally. Southampton against QPR. So I suppose Harry will get a rapturous welcome from one of his old sides. What do you reckon?
Well, the funny thing in this one, we're going to see some phenomenal card tricks. Howard Webb, he's handy with the cards, and I think we might see one or two in this game. He's got a bit of previous with Harry as well. I think we could see cards in this one. QPR, this is do or die for them. I really do think so. If they don't win this one, I think they're finished. Southampton haven't been bad in recent weeks, albeit they lost to Newcastle last week. I fancy Southampton to win, but QPR could go down with a fight.
They've got to win it, QPR. That's it, Matt. You know, they can't do anything else. Even against United last week, you felt that they had to pick a point up, and they never looked like they were capable of doing it. I was saying to Alan, may not be the best of games, but it'll have a right edge to it. And what he says about Howard Webb might be right.
All right, well, you both gave the thumbs up to United, which will please our next guest, Eamonn Holmes. I was watching the Oscars last week, and the host said, the following person needs no introduction. He just walked off. And I think you could probably do the same with you, although he was referring to Meryl Streep.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Ah, right, no. Thank you very much indeed. George Clooney, pleased to meet you. How are you?
You and me both. Are you aware of the fact that everywhere you go, heads turn?
Yeah, and they all say you look much slimmer in real life. That's what they say.
But there is no little amount of skill involved in staying busy for 32 years in this particular game. Now, do you work hard at it, or are you a bit like, I think, Terry Wogan, in that he's just a natural and it comes easily?
No, you see, your job can come easily, but people thinking that you're good at your job or wanting to give you any work is a totally different thing. I used to think for about 27 years, I thought I was the most popular guy on the planet. I thought everybody loved me. This is great. I work away. Everybody loves me. It's great. Then Twitter came along, and you realise most of the world hates you. They can't stand you, everybody. I mean, so I was oblivious to this. Twitter was just a complete shock that suddenly you realise now that so many people can't stand you. You just have to hope more people like you than don't like you. But it doesn't matter whether you can do the job or whether you can't do the job. It's executives who decide, and executive change quite a lot. So my view is, the harder you work, the luckier you get. In other words, I would do news, I would do sport, I'd do religion, I'd do entertainment, basically gun for hire.
What about when you talk to Alex Ferguson? Do you just have polite chats, or do you get down to the nitty-gritty?
Oh, he's the funniest man. He's obsessed with quizzes. And the last time I saw him was at the unveiling of a statue in November. And I sat there with him, me, Peter Schmeichel, and my 10-year-old, and Lady Cathy. And he just kept saying, right, name me General Grant's horse. What was the name of General Grant's horse? He was obsessed with horses and horse names, from, Tricker to Flicker to Roy Rogers to whatever. It was very, very funny. He is obsessed with quizzes, and I appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with him. We went out to a question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was, in The Good Life, what was the name of Tom and Barbara's pet cockerel? And there were these options. There was Rasputin, there was Lenin, there was Marx, and the answer was, I thought it was something funny like Rasputin, whatever, but it wasn't. It was Lenin, it was called. And he's absolutely furious about this, because I've met Felicity Kendall, and I subsequently met Richard Bryars, and neither two of them knew what the name of the cockerel was, and they were in the series. And he would say to me, he phoned me up at the end of that week, he said, I've spoken to 15 people, none of them knew the answer to that question. A month later he would say, I've phoned 100 people, none of them know. We're now up to about 50,000 people or so we've spoken to, and nobody knows the answer, so he thought that was an unfair question.
Well, you'll probably be seeing him a couple of times over the next few days.
Well, no. I've got my own seats at Man U. I've got a season ticket holder, and I'll be up with everybody else. We've got Norwich on Saturday, and we've got who's we got on Tuesday? Something big, isn't it? Yeah. Something big. Your man Ronaldo's coming back, and so it's squeaky bum time certainly next Tuesday.
What is this thing about United? It's not an affectation with you, is it? Because when we were both working early mornings, you suggested that we go out to a game and then come back. That would have given us about 47 minutes sleep, I reckon.
I used to do all that, yeah. But you get older and the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. But yeah, look, for me, Matt, it's my comfort. It gets me away from work. What do I know about football? You revert to being an 11-year-old kid, don't you?
All right, and one dinner party question. I mean, he will go eventually, Sir Alex.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea who might, or who would you like?
Well, I do think, going slightly off centre here, I think I would like to see, at some stage, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think the fans would love him. He's a hero. He's brought a trophy to the youth team. He does, you know, he's done what he's done at Malta as well. I think the board, in terms of commercialism, whatever, I think they would probably look at somebody like Mourinho, but not everybody's convinced that Mourinho would be good for the way the club's run and the way things are done. And, you know, so there are those names that, like David Moyes, that come into the frame as well. But who knows, my friend, the way Alex Ferguson's going, he could be there for another 5-6 years, who knows.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you learnt a lot from that, and I hope you learn from this. This is Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Magic Mod.
Very nice to
Good
meet
seeing you.
Just going to show you a quick trick. Would you like to examine the cards? Make sure. No, you're right. We haven't got enough time.
Okay, you're right.
What I'm going to do is just say stop for me anyway.
Stop.
There?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Have a look at that card. Don't show anyone else apart from yourself. All done?
All done.
Right. Do you play poker?
No. But I know how to play it.
Give me the best poker face you can. Oh, you are good, aren't you? Right. Red, black. Red, black. Judging by your facial expression, I can tell that it's a red card. Hearts. 10 of hearts.
Oddly enough.
So what we do?
Welcome back to the second part of another magical edition of Off the Bar. And magic is all about West Ham, really, because they play with such style and flair and got stuffed by Gareth Bale and his bunch of also-rans on Monday night, and they must do Stoke away this week.
I can't see it, Matt. I just think Stoke always bounce back. They were so poor. We were talking about it against Fulham the week before, you know, when they got beat to the Berbatov goal. But they're such a different team when they're playing at home. I think there'll be no Noble, there'll be no Nolan. So that's two of the midfield three missing for me. So I'm going to make this one of my bets of the weekend. I think Stoke at home will have too much for West Ham.
Turncoat.
I think it's a tough old game. Two teams woefully out of form. Stoke just 1 win in 8. West Ham 7 points out of 24. I suppose the value lies with West Ham. I actually think that the absence of Nolan is a boost to him. I think he's a luxury player who doesn't get round the pitch enough. So I think that may be something of a boost. If you're going to push me, perhaps West Ham at a big price, but better bets to have.
If there was bets for headed goals in this game, I might go for Stoke to get a headed goal as well, because I mean, Jussi Jääskeläinen for me is one of the smallest keepers in the league and not one of the best keepers either. I know he had a decent game against Spurs, but he was making very easy saves look very difficult.
Ozzy Ardiles, a former guest on this programme, emailed me in the week to say how shocked he was by the West Ham defence.
Yeah, I mean, that we haven't got one at the moment, but I think Spurs, you know, I don't like saying it, going forward are a very, very good team. And so if you overcompensate on marking Bale, then it opens the other avenues up.
OK, we've done our usual 20 minutes on West Ham. That's what people want. Sunderland against Fulham.
Well, the other thing I would say about this one is Berbatov. We're going to see some magic later. This man can disappear in away games. I'm not sure about him away from home, particularly at Sunderland. I don't like Sunderland particularly, though they have improved marginally in the last couple of weeks. I'm not getting carried away by Fulham against Stoke, because Stoke was so poor. Sunderland 7-5, perhaps, but not for me.
Looks like a draw.
Yeah.
Sunderland are a very funny team. At the start of the season, we were talking here and saying they were one of the worst teams I've seen. Then they picked up, and now they've gone back again, sort of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And
I think it's Catamol. I think they go backwards when he gets in the team. I really do. I think there are players like that. And I think he's the blind spot of Martin O'Neill.
But having said that, he's been the blind spot of a lot of the managers because they like him, and managers tend to like those competitive types of player. But Fulham, I mean, Berbatov, he said he might disappear, but God blimey, what a goal last week. I mean, that was a dream. I mean, I was at a game where I was commentating that, and I'm watching the early game Fulham, and he's even had the cheek to have a look round as the ball's coming out the sky. And as it's coming out the sky, you have to keep your eye on it the whole time. He's had a look round, no one's there, bang. Smash. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Wonderful then. I think actually wonderful might apply to the next game, Swansea against Newcastle. I reckon there'll be some goals in this.
I'm going to go for Swansea winning this one because they're on such a high and they're playing such good football. But Newcastle were picked up of late as well, so it's a difficult one, but I'm going to go for the Swans.
Well, I'm going to go with what Matt says, though. I think both teams score. It's only 4-6. No, I'm sorry, but I think odds on can be good value. Listen, odds on can be good value, and I think 4-6 both to score is good value in this one. Newcastle just one clean sheet away from home. Oddly enough, Swansea concede more at home than they do away from home, where they keep things very tight. I was looking for back to Guzman last week to score at any time. I fancy him again. But the bet to me, both teams to score at 4-6. I know it's only for the big hitters like Tony Gale here, but I think that's value.
Wigan, you love Wigan. You keep telling us how much you love Wigan, and they're up against your side. So how's it going to go, Alan?
Week, didn't they?
They did, because they went and won old Martinez and Co. I mean, there you go. Well, how can you know, again, you're back in Liverpool at odds on. I mean, much as I love the mighty Reds, how can you be backing them at odds on against anyone at the moment? Yes, they've got that goal threat now with Suarez and Sturridge, and I think they will score. But Wigan, I think they'll score too. I think this is a funny one. Another one here for us, those who like the card tricks. Martin Atkinson gives more out than anyone else. Might see one or two again.
It's a difficult game because you never know what you're going to get from Wigan, and we say it week in, week out. Last week I really fancied them against Reading because they're used to this kind of situation when they're playing against the bottom sides. When they play against the top sides, they're too open. Yeah. That's when you need to say, all right, I've got to stop Gerrard, I've got to stop Suarez, and then we can play. He doesn't do that. He plays the same game. I think it'll be too open and Suarez could run riot.
Speaking of which, good money to be made last year backing opposition midfielders, central midfielders to score against Wigan. Arteta, Jamie O'Hara for Wolves. I think again Gerrard to score at any time in this one. They don't have that man in front of the back four. They don't have that protection. At home, I think this could be a problem for Wigan.
And so we get to the North London derby. Spurs against Arsenal, or as they call it, Arsenal against the Welsh bloke.
Well, the Welsh bloke ain't doing bad, is he? This is the first time I've gone to a Spurs game against the Arsenal in a North London derby for a long, long time and say, individually, Spurs are a better side, full stop, than Arsenal. It's in Spurs' hands now. Have they got the bottle to do it and see it through? That's the point for me. I think they have. I went to the game earlier in the season at the Emirates where Arsenal ran right a bit, but Spurs are actually dominating that game up to 20 minutes, and Adebayor got sent off. I can only see a Spurs win. I think they're too good.
I agree with you. I mean, you know Arsenal are a big price. I think Spurs all day long. I think you've got to give some credit to AVB. Sometimes much maligned, but I think he's done a real steady job. Bale, of course, grabbing the headlines. I do think, again, both teams will score term. If you fancy both to score and Spurs to win, that's 3-1. That's one of my bets of the week.
A good bet might be Bale not to score because they're going to... And again, like Martinez, Wenger doesn't stop key players. It'll be an open game. I'm so looking forward to this one. 0-0.
I was with Paul Lambert in the week, the Aston Villa manager, and he was laughing. Yeah, well, that's what I like to do. And even he was laughing about the prospect of Manchester City coming to town on Monday night.
Well, he does need to pull a rabbit out of a hat, doesn't he? I don't think he will. Man City, I wasn't overly impressed with them last week, but they'll have much too much in the locker for this Villa team, and I think it's a relatively straightforward City victory. Going back to referees, Mad Mike Dean loves a pen. Mike Dean, you might fancy a penalty in the game.
It's a City win all day long for me as well because, I mean, Villa need something, and I don't think they're going to get it out of this game, Matt, quite honestly. City have kept that Premier League title alive by beating Chelsea last week. That was a massive win, and United will just occasionally be looking over their shoulders because they've still got to play City as well, so that points total could come down a little bit. Villa, they need a bit of magic.
Tony Gale's got better looking.
Not difficult. Congratulations, that's magic.
Thanks very much. Well, you know, so all I'm going to do is take out the jokers.
There's definitely a line there, isn't there?
Oh, we've got four now. We've got four. Right, here we go. If you hold on to them for me,
Thank
please.
you. Both jokers gone.
Right. And if you just say stop anywhere, please.
Stop.
Yeah, there?
Yeah.
Right, 7 of hearts. Look at it. Thank you. Right, could you sign across it?
Yeah.
Thank you. To eBay user, please.
There you go.
Can you just say stop?
Stop.
There?
Yeah.
Put it on the top for me, please. How many cards down would you say that is?
57.
57, lovely job. Right, I'll just put it back. I'm going to take the top card, which is 4 of clubs. Can you all see that? Can you sign your name across the back, please?
Right.
You got it? Mm-hmm. So his name's on the back of this 4 of clubs, right? Okay, let's try and get this right. If his 4 of clubs finds your card, that'd be impressive, wouldn't it?
That would be very impressive.
Can you say stop for me?
Stop for me.
Oh, here we go. Right. So the card that you signed the back of is going to try and find your card. Okay, right, let's see. Just look for one with a signature on the back. There's one.
Yeah.
If I take that one, you notice how it's got your signature on the back?
On the front?
On the front.
Yeah.
And your signature's on the back.
Yeah.
Right. If you hold your hand out, just grip tightly, turn your hand over. If I take the 4 with the signature on the back, hang about.
Well, where is the signature?
Have a look at the card that you signed, and you've also signed the front of it as well.
That is magic. That is magic. Well done.
Okay, so let's go through last week's tip and table. Last week, Reedy, our guest, he got 2 out of 3, same as you, Alan, so well done on there. Tony, you got 1, so last week was a very profitable week, so thumbs up, guys. This week, Alan, what are your top 3?
I've got to say, first of all, I think it's a really tough coupon this week. Trying to find value isn't easy. I think there is value even at odds on occasion. Swansea against Newcastle, both teams to score, fancy that at 4-6. Bit more adventurous in the game between Everton and Reading. Everton can't finish teams off. I think, again, both will score, but I'm adding the Everton victory in this one. That's 9-4. And the big one, Spurs against Arsenal. Spurs in outstanding form. Spurs to win, both teams to score, 3-1, pays 21-1.
Fantastic. Tony?
Stoke to beat West Ham. I'm going against West Ham again. I don't like doing it, but I've got to see Stoke as the winners in that one. Spurs to beat Arsenal. I'm just going to keep it plain and simple for that one. And Southampton to beat QPR in the game that I'm at. That's a real big battle down the bottom there. I think Saints have got too much. That pays 8-1 for the treble. Okay. This week I'm going to win. Good luck.
By magic. Thanks, guys.
Chaps, thanks very much. That's just about all the time we have left for the show, but we can't leave without seeing Eamonn bedazzled. Again.
Befuddled,
by the magic mod.
Try and give it a go if I get you just to pick one at anyone.
Okay, pick one at anyone. Thank you.
Show everyone.
Do you ever feel you're being influenced? You know, I don't know how, but he's doing it in some way. There we go.
Do you know how I'm doing it?
Oh.
Magic.
Ah.
Have a look. I'm just going to stick it in at about the middle, okay? Do you say that's the middle? Jumps up to the top. Oh, it doesn't that time, but if I just roll my sleeve, it comes up.
That's the one.
Like that one, right? If I do it, I put it face up this time, okay?
Yeah.
The jack there, watch. Like that, it just turns, and the jack's back in the middle, face down. Now, if you hold on to that one, can you take one as well, please? Yep, pull it out and show everyone. Have a look. Can you say stop?
Stop.
Put your one there, please. Lovely. Can you say stop?
Stop.
There. You put your one there for me. Thanks very much. Right, here we go. Let's try and get this one right. Your one, hopefully.
Yeah. That's my one. Yeah.
If you hold your one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's name a number between 1 and 52.
3.
Good enough for me. Your card. Oh, that's your one.
That's my
You've got
one.
it in your hand.